Welcome back to the Starketer, episode 5. Now, this week's going to be a little bit different. In a change up to the format, Tuesday was actually my 3 months in role at Anthill. So 3 months of the function felt like the opportune moment for us to take this week's episode to step back and reflect on everything that's happened. Identify some of those successes and celebrate them. Acknowledge some of the mistakes and learn from them. So 3 months may not actually seem like that long a time period, but in 2020/21, time has become a completely different thing. So actually quite a lot has happened. Starting with those successes. Now, I've pulled out some really key stats here that I think help showcase maybe some things that have gone well, that we should all shout about, and sometimes we're a little bit reluctant to do so. So for Anthill and the marketing function, one of the key objectives was to really focus on LinkedIn. That's a key channel for us, and in the last 3 months, we've managed to grow our following by 66%. So that's 2/3 more people seeing our content now than were before. So that's a success worth celebrating. In terms of the website, we're actually attracting 18% more users and increasing the time on site by 36%. So that means that those people aren't just a broader audience, but they're actually spending more time to learn more about the technology rather than bouncing off immediately, which is really great to see. And that's reflected in, over the past 3 months compared to the same time period, a 121% increase in conversions. Be those demos, callbacks, contact forms, people are getting 120% more engaged with the brand and with the software. So that's a really, really great success for the function. We've also put some really great resources together for the community, such as the retail review survey, and achieved coverage in some industry-leading magazines. So it's really great to see and actually write those things down for those days when you may be questioning yourself a little bit more. Things can go well. Let's actually take time to acknowledge that. Now, on the flip side, the mistakes. Now, we can't just pretend they didn't happen. We've got to learn from them. Hold our hands up and say, okay, that didn't work. What can we take forward into the future and learn from so it doesn't happen again? So I think one of the key mistakes that I made, especially early on, was being perhaps over-enthusiastic and letting that filter through into what became a bit of a scattergun approach. So by trying to do lots of things at once and jumping on all these great opportunities, I think what I probably should have done instead is focus on a few, linked to those key goals for the function at the start, and really excel at them. Now, that's something that we've molded and moved forward with, but I think that is something to be really hold your hands up and acknowledge about. Secondly, make sure that your tracking's set up properly. And as obvious as that may seem, it took us a couple of weeks to iron those things out. But inaccurate tracking is a bit of an issue when it comes to highlighting the actual impact of the function. So kind of linked to before, rather than just bolting straight in, take the time to make sure everything's set up properly so that when it works as it should, you can properly acknowledge and work out where it's all come from. And finally, I think a key mistake to pull out was that try and, again, be focused in the broad search of what you're trying to do. So focus on that key audience. So one thing I think that I probably was guilty of was being a bit too broad on some of the paid stuff we were doing, which meant that we may have been getting impressions and clicks, but the bounce rate was high. So by focusing that audience, we've now started to see an improvement. So as tempting as it can be to get those high numbers, what would actually be preferable in my lesson for that is maybe lower the number of clicks, but make sure that when they do click, they have a higher conversion. So you're actually getting in front of the right people. Now, that was sort of my 5-minute reflection on 3 months. It's been a really exciting challenge and something that I've really had to throw myself in the deep end for. But from it, loads of really great lessons, a really strong platform to success, and I can't wait to see what the next 3 months hold. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear some of the key lessons and successes that you've experienced from setting up the function, so drop those in the comments below. We'll be back to the normal format next week. Thanks for watching. See you then.